Okay.
All right. Coach, you want to
Sure.
statement back to practice this week?
Yeah, good to get back out here today. Beautiful day. Guys, we did a lot of good on good today. Needed to just get better as a football team. Just work at a lot of things. And guys really put in a lot of effort and had a good physical practice. So I feel like we got better today.
What would you say is the emphasis of the bye week is? Is there anything particular?
Oh, we always look at things, look at the things we're doing well. How do we continue to do that? How do we build off that? What are teams going to do to counter that? And then areas where we're falling short, why? Is it us? Is it coaching? Is it personnel? Is it whatever it is? You got to look at the areas where we're falling short and get those corrected, and also develop young players and then get ahead on future opponents.
To piggyback off of that, the first quarters have been pretty darn good for the offense.
Mm-hmm.
What has, not necessarily play by play, but how do you try to extrapolate that to the whole game?
Yeah, as you know, it's a 4-quarter game. There's been games where we started slow and finished, and I had to answer those questions a lot. And it's hard to really put your finger on it exactly what it is. You could emphasize it, you could talk about it, but it essentially comes down to execution and doing things. I was really proud of our team the way we started, and I think there could be times when maybe we're pressing too hard, across the board, and we just got to get out there and play. We got to get better. There's several plays in that game that really changed the outcome, and we got to find ways to make those plays.
Situational football. How much
we've worked on a lot of that today.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair question and criticism. We have to look at. That's something that we have to look at. We like penalties. We're I think first in the league last year, and we're last this year. I don't coach much different. We have to execute. We have to keep our composure. We have to coach, and play. And situations the same thing. You've heard me talk many times. You could play, the 95% of a game well, but any situation could lose you a game. So we're working some situational football here this week as well. Try to improve.
In your experience,
when you come into a bye week off a losing streak, do you have to work on confidence at all, or does that just go back to process and execution?
No, I think it's just a lot of that. I think our team, I think it was fair going, after going on the road and taking, the loss like we did at Georgia. I was really proud of the team's response. They weren't very happy with it, and came out and really practiced. We talked about it. It was truthful. And they started fast. We just didn't execute and didn't play well enough, and no excuses. Those are the plays that we have to find and the answers that we have to find. So I like our team's mentality, and I think, we're not perfect, but it's a good group, and they're working really hard, and they want to be better, and so I want them hungry, and looking to improve.
in your experience, what kind of refreshment do you see out of the guys after the bye week? With the time off, how do your guys kind of, in your experience, how do they bounce back? How do they kind of get refreshed after a week off?
Well, hopefully they'll get, number one, we'll get healthy. There's a number of guys that there's a long list of players that are injured. That's the biggest thing. And for us this year, could be different than years past. Right now, for us, there's things, we have to really work on ourselves. We did probably more good on good today and will tomorrow than I have in years past. We just have to become better in certain areas, and also with the situational work as well against each other. So, we're just looking to get better and improve, and of course, try to get ahead a bit too.
Good on good. I know, going into the preseason, there was a lot of talk about how well the passing game is playing, but there's been a lot of inconsistencies in it once the games have started. Has it stayed pretty steady throughout practice, or have there been dips?
No, I think it's fair, to look at things. I know Liam was a little upset, not upset because you guys will run with that, but we had a really good practice and then we didn't have a good period. Like a 2-minute period maybe, it wasn't to his liking. So, but defensively we've been struggling with that, so that was good to see the defense step up. So, I think it's fair to say that there's some good periods and some bad periods. Last week, I thought we were getting better in the pass game and had some good sessions, and I thought part of that did carry over. Now there is a drop, there is a hole, there's things that are stalling us that are not okay. We got to put it all together. But I really think Devin is close to really playing some really good football, and we have to play really good around him. We got to improve in some areas around him.
A lot of hidden yards in the punt game that have kind of come back to bite you, especially last week. Field position was huge.
Big.
What sort of things can you do at a midpoint in the season or a little bit
Pass
past
the ball further. That would help.
that simple?
I mean, there's a lot of things we're doing really well in the coverage game, and that's carrying over. The special teams have been really good in certain areas, but it has hurt us lately. And punting is a factor. And along with penalties. But yeah, there's things. I mean, there's areas where we need to improve. But I've also liked a big portion of the special teams. I like the way they're playing.
Speaking of penalties, after the game, Liam said the holding penalties, he thought guys were getting beat off the ball and they were reaching and grab it. Is that what the film showed?
One of them for sure. Yeah.
How do you correct that other than not get beat off the ball?
It was movement, and so movement has hurt us this year. You've heard me talking about it. It's a different looks. You're going to get movement all the time. Those are linemen. You get closer to the football, stuff happens fast. And I think there were some change-ups that we just weren't in good position. One of them, we got caught up on a foot and weren't in great position, didn't have a great base. There's just a variety of things, but we got to get better. It can't happen. I got to answer his question. I was waiting for that helicopter. That's what I thought that was your ride. Thought the Browns was going to come pick you up. You asked about the movement. It was called on Georgia against us for a delay game.
And
you saw it in a different game.
Another game. It was called twice.
So what you're allowed to make move calls from the second level. So, but you can't walk up if it's a second level player, linebacker. You can't walk up into the line and over exaggerate that. In that particular case, I can't tell you. I don't know exactly what he thought, but I know in critical moments that has we were aware of that, and I believe he thought that the defensive end, because he made a drastic movement and he may have made the sound. It can't come from that level. So if you're playing nose guard, you can't make any move calls or anything because it's simulating the snap.
Is that something that coaches have told the officials, hey, watch, make sure that they're not calling from that?
It was a big point of emphasis a year ago, and still is. I think we're all trying to adapt to it and make sure we handle it better. But I think you could see it in our stadiums across this league, how difficult that is if you're an away team. And you got these move calls and everything, and you're waiting, for the clap or certain signals. It's tough across the board. I mean, all of us.
Is there anything you should point to that perhaps makes the end of the first half better? Yeah,
I mean, one thing is emphasizing it, like I mentioned, working on it more, and we did today, and we're going to work it again tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, we need to do a better job. We need to work it. And, even defensively, it's good for us because, as you know, our next opponent plays with that pace. And our team is pretty good when we get our cleats in the ground. When our cleats aren't in the ground, we're not as good. And that's, a lot of people. And we need to work on that sense of urgency and execute better in those situations. We have before, but yeah, it's sticking up and sticking out a little bit this year, and we need to improve. So we'll work on it this week.
Your teams have always, it seemed, responded to challenges, and maybe it's the chip on the shoulder attitude kind of thing. Does that manifest itself at all with the penalties, you think? Maybe over-aggression?
Well, I don't believe our team is as selfish as it appears. You know what I mean? At times, I really don't. I believe in this team. I really like coaching this team, and I told you that before. And I believe they love each other and care. And I think, part of it is frustration. And part of it is, could be precedent and some of that. I certainly got to look at all areas, and some of it is just flat out inexcusable. You know what I mean? I'm not making excuses for anybody, but we do have to look at a lot of things. Yeah.
Mark, you said earlier you thought Devin was getting closer. Now's the time where you can change up some scheme stuff. You can kind of adjust so do you keep pressing forward, or is there some scheme changes you want to make this week?
There's things that we have to look at. I mean, I think that's fair to say. I don't want to say too much, what I mean, about what we're going to do, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think we definitely take our time and look at things and how can we improve. Definitely.
The secondary looked, indestructible those first 5 games. I know these last 2 are 2 of the best passing attacks. But how is that unit trying to improve here with this bye week? I know Jalen's injury too, but what does that unit need to do better?
Yeah, we just need to. We got to play the football better and make strong plays on the football. We also can protect them in certain ways, but it's hard. It's hard. You've heard me talk about it probably for years, and this next game is not going to be any easier with the splits and the way they run the ball. You're going to be putting one-on-ones. I mean, it just is what it is. It's that way. You have to be able to win some one-on-ones, and we got to make strong plays on the ball. And I'm going to stop there before I get fired.
Mark, last year Barry on some of those quick passes was really good at making guys miss after the catch. I know he got injured before the season, is banged up again. Are the injuries kind of limiting the missed tackles, or is it defenses adjusing, seem to take it?
I think it hasn't helped, with Barry on. But and again, I don't, Barry on's the type of player. I don't need to make an excuse for him. He's a really great player, and probably been a little frustrated, and he hasn't been 100%. And I think that hurts with practice. It's top, all of it. The timing, I thought he ran a great route and got open, and we had a chance to go up 21-0, and miss it. And so, those are the plays we have to make.
DK, last one.
Ray Davis came here to find more opportunity, leading the SEC in rushing, and today I think was on the midseason All-American list. What have you been most proud about of what he's accomplished, and what can he further accomplish throughout the rest of the season?
I'm most proud of the way he's grown, the way he's improved without the football, because I think it's natural for all of our players to want the ball and want yards and want the catches and want, recognition, and, our players work hard. It could be a defensive lineman that you don't really see, and you don't really appreciate how hard they're working and what they're doing, and in this time, I think it's really easy to have all the attention on you, and with Ray, I've been proud of the way he's handled it when he hasn't had the ball. I mean, some things that stick out, like the way he's protected, in the pass game, and the way he's been unselfish, and the way he's led and tried to bring people to the top and lead. That's probably the area I've been most proud of. Okay.
Thanks, folks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
See y'all Monday.